Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
News. News.
Radio.
News. News.
Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
Into the silo.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show. It is April 19th, 2017. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Sackhead Sean, sitting at the control board off to my right.
Who are you? Who are you?
Why do you need to know?
Who are you?
Earning the first mute button of the night. That was the bloviating Zeppelin. Off to the left, there's no bigger nose in the business, and he can smell a lie a mile away.
Damn right I can, which is why I put up with your bullshit every week.
Going back to the old man, BZ, you have something you wanted to try?
Mute his ass.
Okay,
that was
muted.
completely disrespectful, Sean.
Muted. Nope.
Completely disrespectful and uncalled for. Hey, BZ, that was fucking totally uncalled for. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. It's a lovely, lovely week. Great weather we're into right now. It's like perfect.
It's wonderful. It's supposed to rain like tomorrow into the weekend, I think.
Yeah. So this last couple of days was actually nice. If the allergies would end, I'd be happy. I'm still going through this voice thing.
Yeah, but you're nothing like you were last time.
No. I was suffering last week.
That was bad.
It still just won't stop no matter what I do. But I want to appreciate everyone who's joining us this evening, pouring into the chat room.
And if you're not joining us, you can kiss ass.
SHRmedia.com.
Yeah, we got Dan, we got Bigfoot, we got Mary Brockman,
Hi,
and
Mary.
The official guest 8591.
Hello,
guest. I miss guest. I do too, especially I know who guest is. I missed 8590. 8590's been gone for quite some time. Then all of a sudden we have 8591.
Well, 8590.
I think it's the same person. I'm pretty sure it's the same person. And I love that person.
I love 8591. Good old 8591.
91.
Hey, you know, Clint?
Yes?
Just a couple months, we're going to be at Freedom Fest.
Yes, we are.
You know Freedom Fest. That happens July 19th to 22nd.
In Las Vegas, Nevada.
At the Paris Resort. Did you know that Freedom Fest is the largest gathering of free minds? Did you know that?
Get out!
I knew this was the largest. You know how I knew this was the largest gathering of free minds, Sean?
Why?
Because we've been there the last couple years. Truly an amazing venue.
Absolutely.
The people there are phenomenal.
Yes.
The media coverage there, particularly from us, is absolutely amazing. Stellar. Like, amazing.
SHR gives the best
That's when
media
we broke you in
coverage.
last year, BC.
Yes, we did.
So we broke you in.
Yes,
That's
we did.
right.
We put the shh in SHR.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the other networks.
Absolutely.
It's pretty
It
awesome.
became SHBZ.
Shibza.
Shibs.
Shibza.
But no, I'm so excited about Freedom Fest. With everybody that puts it on is amazing. The people there, again, just and the thing that I love about Freedom Fest is we don't agree with everything 100%. They don't agree with us 100%, but it's okay.
It's
because there is good, sound debate on the issues, and everybody can go have a beer afterwards, and it's just.
Like I said, some of the most fun debates I've had about politics have come at Freedom Fest.
Yeah, and the ideas that come out of Freedom Fest
are amazing.
Are amazing, whether from communities to different economic things, new authors. It's exciting.
So there's a series that they're going to be exploring at this year's Freedom Fest. Freedom Fest X, by the way, called Exploring New Frontiers. So the LibX series is a libertarianism to the extreme, as they're calling it. So here's a couple of the talks that they're going to have. No more gun control. Great. In defense of hate crimes, which I don't think is exactly how it sounds. I think it's to defend against the false accusations of hate crime. Don't vote. It just encourages them. It's a crime to discriminate. Not in my book. And then Free Texas, the state's rights to secede. So, and of course, Steve Forbes is going to be there for his 70th birthday.
Hey, we'll pour him a drink again. We'll pour him a drink again.
We will.
Don't we have more? We have more where that came from, right?
There will be more. Trust me, there will be more. And then you can have think tanks there like Economic Education, the Cato Institute, Heritage Foundation, State Policy Network, Atlas Society, Manhattan Institute, and more.
If you work for the Cato Institute, do you have to wear the black mask and the little hat?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I was wondering.
Aren't those ninjas?
And do you have to drive a Chrysler Imperial?
More importantly, if you want to get $100 off the full registration rate, go to freedomfest.com and use the code SHR100. And you'll get $100 off the registration rate for Freedom Fest.
I have to say, that was one of the most beautiful live reads I have ever heard in my life.
Because he was attempting to make it sound off
conversation.
Right.
One of the most beautiful live reads.
Mission accomplished.
And one of the most skillfully and artfully placed interjections from the other two individuals here in the room that I've ever heard in my life.
I will have to say, your response has been incredible. And also, you can call the phone number at 855-850-3733.
Listen,
855-850-3733.
I would say that we cannot top that.
Wait, I don't know how we can.
Hang on, boys. Mics in hand. On the count of three, we're going to drop them and cut to commercial.
All right, I'm ready.
What? Has anybody tried box water since we mentioned it last week?
I haven't even seen it on the shelves.
No,
really?
Haven't seen it there.
I have not been lost or stuck on a ship anywhere. So when I'm finally cast away, I'll grab some boxed water.
So here's what I'd like you to do. Here's your homework. Get some boxed water and a can of Spam.
Don't think I wasn't raised on Spam.
Okay, Sean?
No, I don't know why we would even need to be doing this right
My
now.
parents would fry Spam.
Big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Oh yeah, mine too. My family is from Hawaii, and they were a World War II family where literally Spam is what
my dad was a child of the Depression.
Look at Sean. You look like you're like hungry right now.
I come from a place where we're no longer starving and we eat regular food. I'm just saying.
You can acquire a taste for Spam.
You can absolutely acquire a taste.
And depending upon your job, you can acquire a taste for shit as well.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you know? Never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean,
wouldn't know anything about that.
Served on a shingle.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's BZ.
That is
for those of you that would want to know who the shit eater on the show is. I don't know anything about acquiring a taste.
I'm the resident coprophage.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly, actually. Sean, I got a question for you.
Yes.
And it's the title of our first little 5-minute segment. Dude, what's up with the Pats?
What do you want to know? What's
up with the Patriots? How many of them missed the meeting of the White House because they don't like Trump? And isn't it in their freaking name? Well, Patriots. Like, you go to the White House, even if you lose. You go to the White House.
Yeah, but I go back, you know what, with other teams that have won in the past and people that had political issues with the president of the past.
But shouldn't sports be above? And I'm not picking. I want the Patriots because I know your love for the team, and I know your love for the.
Put your headphones on
for the country. I can't. I'm so animated right now. I'm jumping up. I can't right now. They don't even reach.
Big nose.
Look. See it pulls. You see, I can't go anywhere.
That's not the headphones, stupid.
Oh, it's my penis. Look, sorry.
Yeah, it's not that either. Remember we went over the diagram? I tried to explain it to you.
Oh, that's
nose.
right.
That's your nose.
Nose.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I know they're your team, but shouldn't sports rise above politics?
Well, but
shouldn't sports be a venue where we all kind of come together?
No.
Why?
Because
you're supporting this?
Not if you're ESPN.
Wait, hold on a second. On the field, in uniform, yes, I understand that.
But they're representing the team.
But I can't sit here and be a hypocrite, right? Because when other players refused to do it when it was Obama with other teams,
we still called them out.
No, I did not.
I did.
I supported their reason.
So you would be a hypocrite. So you think this is okay? I wouldn't be a hypocrite. So I think it's BS.
But I do think it's okay. And you know,
you're just saying it's because the Patriots.
No,
if this were the 49ers, you'd be throwing them
absolutely,
down.
Absolutely.
But I've said this in the past too. First of all, Brady's not going for unknown reasons.
But he's a Trump supporter.
But he's a Trump supporter.
Right, and he called the White House ahead of time.
Yes, and explained, and everyone wanted to blow it up that it was something it wasn't.
Exactly.
And then you had some other people.
And I'm not a Brady fan, but that I think is legit.
Right.
Gronkowski, I love him. The way he popped in today to the press briefing.
He's out of his mind.
I
love the kid, though.
Look, awesome.
The kid, though.
Awesome.
I know Aaron Hernandez is not going to be going to the White House.
No,
but
he has a legitimate reason.
Right. He can actually call in dead.
That's right.
Right.
He has a whole pass on that one.
And he never would have passed the background anyway, so what's the point,
yeah,
really?
That's right.
Listen, I don't think you should be forced as an individual off the field.
Not forced, but isn't it the right thing to do? I kind of equate it to Kaepernick taking a knee.
That's on the field in a uniform.
Yeah, but this is still a representation of the team. Right? It's that whole nexus thing.
I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with that. I think off season when you're in your own time, if you get invited, great. If you don't want to go, I could care less. But somebody said it in the chat room, and I kind of agree too. Separate the sports and the politics completely.
Yes. But to do that, you'd have to go.
But to do that, you wouldn't go to the White House.
Yeah, but if the president wants to say, hey, congratulations.
You can't do that anymore. ESPN will not allow you to do that anymore.
Right. And that's the thing is, I don't care if teams go to the White House after they win or lose. I don't care. I think it's a waste of time, to be honest with you. I think athletes get enough in this world that if they want to meet the president, it's going to happen.
Yeah, why don't we get an invitation to meet the president?
Right. I don't belittle anyone that doesn't want to go.
Am I belittling?
Yes.
How am I belittling? I always said, dude, what's up with the Pats? It's in their name.
But I did say it with other teams as well, and I'm going to stick to it. I think that you have that choice.
See, my perspective on this is if you're going to represent the team and you really want, you know you're a role model.
Right.
Just like Kaepernick kneeling on the field. And again, I don't care if this is Obama, if this is whoever it is. If your team, if the owners of the team have agreed to accept that invitation to go and put that foot forward. If the owners of the team wanted to say, hey, nobody's going for whatever reason, hey, you know what? That's a private group. You're the owner of that team. That's your prerogative as a private owner. But once an owner or somebody says, yes, we will be there, I think you go as a team to fulfill your role as a role model, to stand together and to show that, hey, you know what? Sports is a time where we come together and we can rise above that, regardless of personal beliefs. Now, if it was a hey, one-on-one, would you like to come to the White House? Yeah, no, thank you. I'm really not. But this is an official kind of representation of the Patriots.
So now it comes down to the ownership, right?
Yeah.
The ownership supporting or not supporting.
Yes.
Kraft is a known Trump supporter, Bob Kraft.
Yeah.
But it could come down to a contractual thing, right? You may be able to recommend they go,
right?
But contractually, you can't force them,
right? No, and I see that. I'm just saying, I think, in my opinion, the right thing for those players to do would be to go. I just, in my opinion, that's the right thing for them to do.
I don't care either way. And like I said, I support their right as free Americans to not go meet a president. That would be like saying...
Do you support Kaepernick's right as a free American to kneel down on the field?
Not when you're in uniform at an official event that you're contracted to be at. I think that's very different. I think because they all...
So if he were at a non-game event but still representing the 49ers, would he be able to kneel?
I hate him for it, but yes.
Okay.
But no...
See, I think as a private citizen, he could absolutely...
He is a private citizen.
But as a team event, I think you lose that.
Though. He's still a private citizen. Once you're out of that uniform meaning one form.
Yeah, but once there's a...
You also don't have...
But once... From the Latin word jalapeno meaning all-togetherness. But it's like... Once there's that nexus to the team.
Yes.
Once you're doing it as a team.
I understand what you're saying.
And that's kind of
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think when you're out of uniform, not at practice, off season, off field, you have that right to be a dickhead.
Well,
fair enough.
There was the broadcaster recently who said that the military, aircraft, and the flags don't belong at a sports event.
And I disagree with that because the NFL, if the NFL says we don't want that, they have that right. They could also lose their 504C status. We have that right as this country.
Yes.
But what a lot of people don't realize is the amount of money the U.S. military pays the NFL to do a lot of different things.
Yes,
so the NFL will never say that because they're getting paid for advertising for it.
Well,
so, hold on. I know we have to move along, but this is pretty sad stuff, and I want to.
You're going to bring us down right off the bat?
Yeah, this is pretty rough. You remember Patrick? You remember Patrick? He was the beloved 32-year-old virgin wombat.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's the oldest known bare-nosed wombat in the world. He was at the Ballarat Wildlife Park in Australia, and the poor sucker was a virgin at 32. He passed away, most likely of sadness. He passed away today. I think we should all just take a moment to remember the bare-nosed little virgin. And of course, I'm talking about Patrick, not maybe somebody who broadcasted here at one point.
I had a wombat.
You had a wombat?
I had a wombat.
Why am I not shocked?
I had a 1969 Hodaka Combat Wombat 125.
I was going to ask if you divorced her.
Nope, that was one of the best bikes I'd ever had. That was a great dirt bike. Took many a spill.
Oh, that's too funny.
Hodaka Pabatco, Pacific Basin Trading Company.
So, of course, the number one newsman of the business.
Okay, that's all right. Don't listen to me. I'm just over here.
Well, it's funny. Not for nothing, but when this happened to someone on this side of the thing earlier, so, I was talking.
Why is it that the password is SHR 100? Shall I tell them? It's because you guys decided to use my age.
Yeah. It was directly related, and you get $100 off. So, listen, however you want to sell it, that's fine. However you want to sell it to yourself, you scruffy little bugger.
I am that.
All right, so I was watching this movie.
Yes.
And I don't know how I found this movie, but it was called Conspiracy. Have you heard of this movie?
Was that the one with Mel Gibson?
No. And it was not about SHR news either. This was about... It was with Colin Firth, and it was about the meeting that Germany had, where the SS, it was an SS general that hosted the meeting, where they actually came up with the final solution to the Jewish problem, quote unquote Jewish problem, not SHR saying that it's a problem. And there were no meetings, recordings, anything of this event, but Martin Luther maintained a journal with notes about the meeting that was found after the war. And that's how this meeting and the contents of this meeting and who was present and kind of the discussions that took place were known. The entire movie takes place in one house where the meeting, and I was, the first few minutes I'm like, oh geez, what am I watching?
It's like my dinner with Andre.
But as the discussion went on and the way they talked about the dealing with the Jewish population in, not just in Germany, but in Europe as a whole, just how cold and calculating they were. It was completely, I mean, obviously the Holocaust was a horrific event, but to see actors play these parts so well and just this matter-of-fact, business-like demeanor, where they discussed the Jews in Germany and how they would evacuation was the term that was used, not extermination or kill or murder, but evacuation, was just stunning to me. So I have no idea why, but I started pulling up some other documents, and I came across something very, very interesting that I wanted to share. And it's called So I Was Watching This Movie, because it actually led to this. But do you know, do you guys know who the economic minister was in Germany or Nazi Germany at the time, or why this person was important?
Economic minister, not offhand.
Not ergonomic.
I'm going to guess he might have been an Austrian.
The economic minister.
I don't know. And as great as,
I'm ready.
As great as Dead Air is for radio, but please tell us.
What's wrong with Dead Air?
The suspense is built.
There's nothing with it. The guy's name is Funk. Like funky, right? Like how funky is. But here's the interesting thing about him. I came across a speech of his from July 25th, I think it was 1940, where he talks about a specific idea, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And then I'm searching this, and I'm finding a bunch of documents related to a specific topic. And one is a Reich Chancellery memorandum dated July 9th, 1940, where he talks about organization of the German economy. And there's a lot of documents that came out of Nazi Germany about this, but here's one of here was their main focus. That essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, you can pull the documents up for yourself if you want to read them, that essentially there should not be a lot of multiple economies in Europe, but that all of their economies should be one. And that they should have a common currency. And that they should have a common exchange rate. And that, yes, the light bulb just went on.
Scratch the record. You mean the guy Funk, who was the economic minister, whatever you want to call him,
for Nazi Germany.
Nazi Germany essentially predicted the EU and said that that's how you should be able to control an economy.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were clear. So the EU, financially by design, was a Nazi idea.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm not being inaccurate.
No.
It was a Nazi idea.
Yes.
Okay. What movie was this?
Anybody else shocked? So, look,
what movie was this, first of all? I'm getting asked on the
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy. Okay.
Great movie, and it has nothing to do with the EU. But me researching this movie led to me finding these documents from Funk,
so essentially,
and his trial at Nuremberg and all these things.
So, historically speaking, who started the EU?
Well, the idea, with what I've been able to see, seems to have spawned from about 1940 Nazi Germany.
So what you're saying is if you support the EU, you support the Nazis.
Well, here's the thing, right? Isn't Antifa?
Go on.
Right?
Go on. No, say it.
Right,
Everyone else-
Antifa is an anti-fascist group. They are a huge lefty organization. That teacher out of Berkeley, who was all over Falarka, whatever her name is.
Falarka.
Who was on Fox News and everything else, all over the place, causing problems all over Northern California, riots and everything else.
That was a clip by her.
But I'm wondering if Antifa was originally founded because I think Antifa was against the EU. I'm just saying.
They're against themselves?
Look,
It's almost like an Operation Valkyrie, right?
yeah, look, is anybody else find this kind of freaking interesting?
No, it is interesting. Hey,
Now, hang on, let me blow your mind a little bit more. And this I haven't been able to confirm, but have you ever heard of rumors about the Red House report?
negative.
So, the Red House report, supposedly,
Enlighten me, Boone.
is a U.S. military intelligence report, EW-PA 128. And it was labeled the Red House report. I haven't been able to confirm this, but there's a lot of stuff out there about this Red House report. And one of the things, according to the Red House report, and there's actually stuff in French. I don't read French, but in the U.S. there's not a lot of information on the Red House report. But it talks about...
It says we give.
It talks about the Fourth Reich. And the Fourth Reich meaning, supposedly this came about in 1945. And here's what kind of gives us a little bit of credibility. We already know that the Germans, the Nazis were thinking economically in 1940, right? 39, 1940. And that these memorandums were going out about the establishment. Now, granted, they had the perspective that it would be the Reichmark as the currency and everything else, right? But the fact is they had this idea of a unified Europe for trade purposes, which is kind of what we have now. So,
and then when you're in charge of it, that trade is all going to benefit you.
Absolutely. But still, the idea, right, was born there, it seems. So the Red House report talks about, and rumored to come out around 1945 out of a meeting, again, not a lot of notes or whatnot. And what the concept was, supposedly there was the high executives from Messerschmitt, from Volkswagen, from other areas of economy, high levels of economy in Germany at the time, and they talked about getting their resources out of Germany into banks that are outside of Germany and everything else to get their scientists, their economists, and so forth in other parts of the world, get them out of Germany so that they survive, and to economically tie various economies together and build the Fourth Reich, not militarily, but economically.
Financially. Well,
so my question is
like
this.
Everything else, you control the purse strings, you control everything.
Right. And we just talked about Merkel last week, did we not?
We did, in fact.
And we talked about some of the trends that's being seen in the German military, which is interesting to say the least. So I just find this a little interesting. I'm not saying that the Fourth Reich is on the rise or anything else, but I'm saying it's. I found the EU stuff. I found the movie was very good, first of all, but I found the EU stuff completely fascinating. And then the Red House report, I want to find out more.
Well, and it's like everything else, right? Where there's smoke, there's some fire. It may not be a true burning house fire. It could be a controlled fire.
Let me ask you this. The EU exists.
Yes.
It was a Nazi idea. Did Germany win World War II economically? Long run, end game. Kind of like did the socialists win here in the U.S.?
One could say, yes, they did, just as Japan became an industrial powerhouse.
Right.
Out in that theater.
Militarily, we might have kicked their ass.
Right. But look at what happened with the
Well, how brilliant were the Germans?
Well, the Marshall Plan, for example. Who was the greatest promoter of Germany following World War II before he died? Patton. He sympathized with the Germans and said we should have gone straight into Russia. They were our enemy.
And he was right.
And historically speaking, he was correct.
Yes.
He said, we share more in common with Germans than we do Russians.
Absolutely.
And he was correct.
He was not incorrect. He was. That's right.
Yes, he was. The problem is Nazis were batshit crazy.
Right. It's just a lesser... Well,
any reaction to this? My mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I can't believe what I'm.
On the other hand, stop for a moment and think, who are the people that are promoting the continuance of the European Union, as opposed to those who want to leave?
Hard left.
And Germany.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, because
Germany.
Because
right?
they need the money.
Merkel. So you can find Walter Funk. Well, his name was Walter, but it's pronounced W-A-L-T-H-E-R. Walter Funk. He actually gave a speech to Economic Reorganization of Europe, July 25th, 1940. That was the speech I was referring to earlier, where he actually talks about this stuff. And there's document after document that talks about this. Werner Dates, the reorganization of Europe on a racial and territorial basis, took place in 1940. Just so many historical documents that you can find where they talk about organizing the whole of Europe, much like it's organized today.
It's frightening.
Professor Clinton has spoken, folks. Professor Clinton hasn't been on in a while.
I don't know if we could. Okay.
One of the greatest enablers.
That was a great segment. What are you talking about? Why are you deminimizing this right now?
No, I'm not deminimizing.
Yeah, de minimis.
De minimis.
That's your nickname now. De minimis.
Dismiss.
One of the greatest enabling historical events that occurred,
is our
however, that helped. That helped to enable the EU is the fall of communism, 1989, 1990.
Yes.
Which is interesting also because communism and fascism
do not go hand in hand.
Do not go hand in hand.
There's some qualities they share.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Right? And total government side, big government, but
controls all.
Controls all. It's just which side of that you're on.
If you look at the Soviet Union was the original EU, right? In a lot of ways.
Right.
Yes, and look what happened to the USSR.
Yeah.
So your point actually fits.
Yes, it does.
They were technically different countries in the Soviet Union, right? But they were all puppet countries manipulated by Moscow.
Yeah, you have Uzbekistan, you've got Uzbekistan, Vinswitchistan, you've got
Botswanistan.
Ambulance chasing Hackistan.
Yeah, absolutely all the
that's alliterative, Hackistan.
You like that one?
Like Hackistan.
Folks, we're up against a break. When we come back, I can't see the board.
So when we come back, the segment is Moab was awesome, but Russia's fucking with us again.
Absolutely is, right here on the
That's your segment.
Radio
You should
Show,
know
right
that.
On the SHR Media Network.
It's your segment.
Media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sackheads Radio Show. Live on the SHR Media Network. This is my segment, I know, because it's in green. It's in green on the board.
It is.
That's your segment.
It is.
So last week, in just an effort to say, go fuck yourself, we decided to drop the Moab, the mother of all bombs. Massive Ordnance Air Bomb is actually what it stands for. In Afghanistan, because there was a couple of terrorists hiding in tunnels. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't terrorists hiding in tunnels. Not saying that. Because there absolutely were. And they absolutely got killed. And it was absolutely beautiful to watch. A couple things that I want to talk about is, A, the administration's show of strength, but not like it was ordered by the White House. The administration's show of strength that for military operations, they will allow the people to know what they're doing to do it.
Trust.
It is trust. I think that is huge. And I think that says a lot of different things to world leaders around the world.
There was actually a libtard who said, I shouldn't call him a libtard because I like the guy a lot, but there's some hack of an attorney that actually said that all presidents have allowed their field commanders to make decisions.
Negative Ghost Rider. That pattern is so
bullshit alert.
Fucking full. It's not even funny.
So, look, for those of you that don't know, a Tomahawk cruise missile is 1,000 pounds of explosive.
Yes.
A Moab is 21,000 pounds, and it's an airburst munition.
Yep.
And it's so fucking big that we don't even have a bomber that carries it.
I wanted to get... No,
okay, I'm show business. I'm sorry.
So, and on top of the fact that we're going to drop this big-ass son of a bitch bomb on him, we're not...
First time it's ever been used.
Ever been used in combat.
In combat.
We're not even going to throw it out of a bomber. No, we're going to use a C-130 transport.
There's historical reason for that. What was called the Daisy Cutter was the BLU-82.
Yep.
Fuel. It wasn't fuel air. It was just a big dumb bomb that you kicked out of the back of a C-130 on a pallet. But that was used to create LZs in Vietnam.
Yes.
And it looked like a nuclear explosion. And one of the reasons that I think that this particular commander utilized that bomb is because it does have a massive psychological impact. That's, because it looks like a nuclear explosion.
And that's what I want to get at as well. So
finish talking about kicking this fucking thing out of the back of the C-130, because that's funny.
It's very specific now. We have to make the distinction between this and there is a larger munition than this in the Air Force inventory.
You're getting way too serious. I want to hear Sean paint this cartoon picture of this bomb being painted out of the back.
You either have a penetrator. That was 11 tons. There's a 15-ton bomb called the MOP, the Massive Ordnance Penetrator.
Yes.
And you use these in two separate requirements. A fuel-air mixture bomb, such as the Moab, is a mean
son of a
bastard.
But that's for doing hardened nuclear facilities.
Yes, when you want to penetrate. And two of those...
Is that called the Lexington Steel?
The MOPs.
That's actually
what it's called, right?
Oh, the Lex.
Right? They paint it black.
Just keep going.
Two of those were actually designed to fit into the bomb bay of a B-2 Stealth.
You can also call it the Ken. Yes.
The Moab will not fit.
No.
The MOP, which is 4 tons heavier, will fit in a B-2 Stealth. And it was designed, and it was created in 2011, and it exists. But they used the Moab specifically because of those results.
Right.
Now you want something to penetrate, a nuclear vault, say, you use the other one.
Well, and like you said, you go strict psychological with this. Because here's the thing. These guys, for the most part, they know C-130, the Spectre could be showing up, right? And you're going to get a hail of fire. But more often than not, they're seeing a C-130 show up and they're like, oh, leaflets.
Yes, big deal.
They're dropping leaflets or food to the village, right?
Food.
And all these assholes are looking up in their little cave, and you see just the parachute, just the beginning of it, flicking out the back, right? Just the tail, and then it starts to spread, and you're like, oh, wow, this is going to be a really big pallet of food fuck. Because in this very...
At what point?
Cartoon... Bugs Bunny-like effect. There is a giant ass, and it looks like a giant bomb. It's like something Wile E. Coyote would strap to his back to try to catch the Roadrunner. That's almost the ridiculousness of how awesome it is.
Yes!
It is as dumb of a bomb, essentially, as you can get. Yes, there's guidance, and there's timing, there's some other things to it. But in the scheme of bombs these days, it is one of the dumbest. Right? It is the equivalent of Mongo falling out of the back of the airplane from Blazing Saddles. And then the slow descent at first with the parachute.
Maybe that's what Moab stands for. Oh, Mongo. Ooh, a bomb.
Mongo. Ooh, a bomb. And then it hits. And it hits like a son of a bitch. It detonates a few feet above ground.
Uh-huh.
And it has such a concussion that it can blow out everything underground. It blew out tunnels, and it eviscerates everything within a square mile above ground. Couple different reasons why I want to talk about the importance of using this. I covered the first one, President Trump being willing to actually trust his military personnel to do what they're going to do. He even said, hey, I got a call essentially as it was going out the door. Go ahead.
I want to reenact this discussion.
He's very courteous. Did you notice it?
Yes,
very
he
courteous.
Raised his hand.
I'm a general because I'm enjoying the shit out of your comedic painting of this picture. I couldn't wait to hear this.
I was like, get it as sackheady as possible.
Yes, I was like, okay, the title is perfect. Go. So I picture this discussion, right? I'm the general. The president's given us full authority. Full authority? Yeah, full authority. What's the biggest fucking thing we have that we can't we got that thing called the Moab. Is that the mother of all bombs? Yeah, the big fucker.
All right.
Is that the Lex Steel? No, we don't need to penetrate. We just need to scare the shit out of them and kill everything underground.
Plan B is we take a C5 Galaxy and hook it up like a drone. Hear me out on this.
Right.
As much C4 as we could possibly get into it.
Right.
Too expensive? All right.
Okay.
Let's go Moab.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the Moab. Now, we're not going to drop it conventionally. No, here's pallets. Yeah. No, trust me, the president isn't going to give a shit. Yeah, pallets. Parachute. Yeah, hook it up. Hook it up with a parachute.
Pallet and a parachute. It's 2017.
Pallet and a parachute.
Good call.
Yep.
Make sure you get a good recording of it.
Right. Hey, which airman is in a lot of trouble this week? All right, tell him he's kicking the fucker out the back door.
He's pushing.
Yeah. No, he's pushing it. Yeah.
Just in case.
No safety strap.
No, he's just pushing.
No, the president will be fine with it. No safety. This ain't Obama.
So you have...
This is the discussion, I imagine. Okay, is it airborne? Are they kicking it out? Okay, call the president.
Yeah, let them know we're doing this.
Mr. President, check it out. Here was my idea.
By the way. And you know what's
funny? And you know the president was like, you win the Celebrity Apprentice of Generals.
You're in.
Amazing.
You're in.
Great.
Move on to the next
great
round.
Creativity. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful creativity.
You're going on to the next round. I'm proud to say. You're going on to the next round. So you have this for the terrorists in Afghanistan, right? Just knowing that bomb's out there and we're willing to use it now may change some hearts and minds. And after all, the war is about hearts and minds, won't it?
And didn't he have a visitor at this time?
Uh-huh. China. Or as I like to say, China. Was
there a "the" in front of?
Yes. You have the president of China visiting the president of the United States of America discussing how to deal with North Korea.
And I bet China was like this. No, we can't control them. They're crazy. Hang on, I got a phone call. Oh, big fucking explosion? Big bomb. Moab.
Turn on the news. Got it. Click.
Got it. Click.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Hey, Xi, my good friend. Just something happened and have some dessert.
Yeah, it's fine. Just sit down and watch this, and then let's discuss North Korea, my friend. So then they're going to get into North Korea. Now, North Korea alone, amazingly, what was it, a day and a half later, evacuated downtown Pyongyang.
Yes, we were listening to it.
We were listening as it was happening. So that was pretty impressive as well. And then, of course, you have our friends over at...
By the way, when they started doing that, I started giggling. I was like, hee, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
I dare you.
Do it.
I dare you. And then you have our good friends over in Russia who have been fucking with us continuously.
They paused a couple days.
Yeah.
After we blew that big-ass bomb out of the back of the C-130.
But you know what that was?
They paused.
That was, do we want to really keep doing that?
It was. And then it was, fuck it, let's do it.
Tell them we don't have any planes that can fly yet. You know, like, why? Why would you start going down this road of jackassery? But they did it 2 days in a row. They also did it with Japan, fucking with Japan flyovers, which, of course, we're the defense for Japan.
Yep.
They know what's going on right now with us in South Korea and North Korea. I guarantee you that Russia has some...
And we'll get into Korea next segment.
Yes. And then you also have, obviously, the Alaska incursions.
Yes, twice in 2 days.
Twice in 2
days. A couple of counter-rotating prop Big Tupolev Tu-95s. That's a statement.
The Bears, as they call it. Right.
Nuclear capable.
Yes, they are.
Yep. And big and slow. Hey, you know what? We're just doing this. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? If they had a MiG skirt the line at Mach 3 just to see what our response was, like they would do, like they did a lot more during the Cold War, like, hey, let's get them up and see what's going on. Okay.
Or as they did under Obama, next to our ships.
They did.
But this is a little bit different. And they did this a lot under Obama. Remember Guam during the State of the Union.
Well, not only that, but do you remember they came up within, 50 miles of Mendocino, California?
Yes. Yep. And so you have these giant slow bear bombers. And that's literally like a fuck you. Like, we're going to go slow. We know you could shoot them out of the sky, but you're not going to.
Right.
And
because we're in international airspace, nanny, nanny, boo-boo. I want to see Putin actually say nanny, nanny, boo-boo.
Nanny, nanny, boo-boo, motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
So, where do we play the game with Russia at this point? And listen, after the Syrian airstrikes, they threw a couple of their little frigates out in the water and tried to get them close to ours.
Yeah, Trump said, oh, that's cute.
That's friggin' adorable. But...
You blew a dork.
You blew a what?
No, you blew a dork.
What is that?
You bleeding dork?
That's motherfucker in Russian.
I don't know that. How would you know that?
Whoa, hang on. Did we just uncover a Russian spy here on SHR?
You blew a dork. Everybody knows that.
Not everybody knows that.
How long have you worked for the Russian government?
This red-blooded American didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I just knew Ninoga from Red October.
I have a test.
You pan-Ruski? Ninoga.
I have a test right now. BZ, when you watch the original Red Dawn, who were you rooting for?
What were they called? The Hornets, the Bobcats.
Okay, no, he didn't even know it was Wolverines.
Wolverines, that's right.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I was just going to let it go.
No, we can't let this go.
Now, that's just memory. Come on.
Our listeners decide.
That's just memory.
That's a good point. Folks, you've just heard the testimony.
Yeah.
Well, there I go.
Of Comrade Zeppelin.
Yeah. I mean, even the term Zeppelin, it just sounds...
Das Vidania.
Look, and I'm not saying, but he
did. I just get voted off the island?
He does have two bright red hats behind him in studio. I just draw your own conclusion.
Right, absolutely.
Draw your own conclusion.
And somewhere he doesn't wear
lava lamp may or may not be red.
He doesn't wear it all the time now, but he used to wear a star, didn't he? At some point.
Yes, a red one,
a red star. That's
5-pointed.
Right. I remember that 5-pointed.
Yep, 5-pointed
on my lapel.
On his lapel. And he's always dropping off suitcases. You see how many briefcases this guy has?
Yeah.
I've never seen so many briefcases.
Me either, and they're different every week.
You know what you could fit into a suitcase?
What?
A tactical backpack nuke.
Yes. Dirty bombs.
Which happened to be missing from...
Russia.
Thank you.
And you just happen to have this is getting...
And I just happen to know about that.
More and more...
Weird. It's weird.
Odd.
Very weird.
So what is Trump's... BZ, what is Trump's response going to be, or what should it be to your people?
know how to answer that.
You can't, right? Because if you deny knowledge, Putin would have you shot. And if you answer the question, then you're obviously agreeing that there's something going on.
Oh, now that was funny. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't laughed like that all day. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. You made my day.
No, what's his response, though?
What's your good friend's response? Well, I haven't called him today.
You and Vlad?
I have no idea. I really don't know what he's going to do.
What should he do?
He's going to have to take Putin much more seriously than you would that little stupid pudgy guy in North Korea. I truly think that they're thinking...
Sako's not in North Korea.
Right, Sako's not from North Korea.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I truly think that they're considering the next series, I don't know when, but I would bet that his generals are seriously considering utilizing the THAAD system.
Yeah.
And they're going to attempt to shoot down some of his missiles. I think we've got an array in Alaska.
Are you talking about Russian missiles?
No, from North Korea.
Oh, we'll talk about North Korea next segment. But what does he do about Russia?
Yeah, we're talking about Russia.
Right. But
do we use the THUD system and shoot down one of their big aircraft that comes near our shores?
My point was, you can do that with North Korea.
Gotcha.
But you're not going to be doing that, nor will you be thinking about anything like that with regard to Russia. Russia is not a powerhouse economically. Russia is not a powerhouse politically, but it is a powerhouse militarily.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So because of that aspect, that's something that you must seriously consider with whoever is sitting in the catbird seat, which is Putin. That individual would have the wherewithal to pull the big red handle should it get to that point. But Clint, as you and I were discussing 2 weeks ago, if anything happens between North Korea and China, I think we both agreed Russia would do its best not to be involved. That they would stand back and watch the chaos.
Yes, they would.
And applaud.
Right.
Yep, and then whichever side looks like they're going to be the victor, stand with them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So
even if it was us.
Their plan right now, I think Putin, he can't afford to take any independent actions. What he can do is what he's gotten away with under Obama. Hence, the flyovers with Sukhois to our ships and flying close
so here's
to
the
the coast.
Trump has to send a message. And it can't be, please stop, hey, if you keep doing this, we're going to, because we're not going to. But what we can do is hit Syria.
We have to be more measured in our response to Russia, which means that we can send a message to Russia, and yes, it can
via Syria.
It can be by way of other client states like Syria.
Yes, absolutely. Can he send a message to Russia in Crimea?
Yes. Yes, you most certainly can send a
because Crimea, as I believe,
the Russians aren't involved. Remember,
I believe the Russians aren't involved, and that's still an independent country. Correct?
Yes, and if the Ukraine
nobody's talking about that.
Joe Cocker had a song about that, if I'm not mistaken, about a tributary called Crimea River.
Yes,
wasn't that correct?
Crimea River.
I think so.
I know exactly what it was.
What could he do about Ukraine?
BC, long before your days, every time we talked about Crimea, I sang that exact phrase every single time. We, sorry.
Okay. Sure. So could we do something about Ukraine?
Yes.
Now that's not a hot spot now.
Right.
Yes.
So there are other ways that we could respond, but we can't do nothing.
Well, you can
Obama did nothing.
You could start doing sanctions too, right? You could start sanctioning some higher-end rich people in Russia.
Yeah.
You can go after that. You can go after some trade stuff.
Yeah.
You can work with allied countries to stop buying some Russian goods for a while.
What happens if we shoot down a Tu-95?
It depends on if it was intentional or accidental, because remember the accidental shoot down of KAL Flight 3?
Yep.
Was it Flight 3, I believe? In
the Korean Airlines. Right.
There's been some other accidental mistakes. Stuff happens, right? I mean, it'd be a shame if all of a sudden one of them were to fall out of the sky because there was an accidental discharge. Or they accidentally activated some sort of air defense system, and it just responded.
Right.
Gosh.
Hey, they were off course.
People theorized that's how the USS Scorpion went down in 1968.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
It was Russian. It was Russia initiated.
Yes.
That was back the time. That was
if you guys
that
went down.
If you guys have not read Blind Man's Bluff about the Cold War submarine war,
Yep.
that's what you need. Okay, this is how old I am. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away in the 70s, there was a bar in Vallejo called the Horse Cow. And I went in there with a couple of college guys one night. And little did we know that, and it had a picture, we didn't know what had this model of a submarine. And you could see it, well, you could see it right off Interstate 80. And we used to go to San Francisco a lot. So we decided we were going to stop at this bar called the Horse Cow. Got up there, there's a big model, about a 10-foot model of a submarine above the bar. We didn't know what the hell that had anything to do about. We went inside, 3 college students, and the fucking place stopped. It was a U.S. Navy submariners bar, and it was packed with memorabilia. It's gone now, which is very sad. So I went back later, probably a year later, just by myself, and that's exactly what it was.
Did you guys drink there?
We had one drink. We felt so uncomfortable because everyone was either in their whites or, they're all slick tops, and I had everything but a slick top at that point. And we had a beer, and we left. And we thought, okay, that's not a place for us. But it didn't dawn on me. I didn't connect the two because we had a sub base just off the East Bay at the time. What was the
Mare Island?
Yeah, Mare Island. There we go.
Yep.
We used to have subs and sub-tenders there. They're all gone now. They're up north in Washington. But that was clearly a submariner base. It was wonderful. But it's theorized that we lost subs in the Cold War in the 60s. We lost them. The Soviets lost them. We'd play hide and seek, and sometimes we hid, and sometimes we collided.
Mm-hmm. And there was a lot more than people realize happened back.
Oh yes, and it was to the point of all sides to not reveal any of that.
Well, and it's funny, and in the chat room right now, Golf Dogs brought this up, and I think there is some validity to it, is that the left, amazingly, all of a sudden wants us to go to war because they feel like if we're in a war, that Trump is beatable the next cycle around. I think that's a very astute opinion. The fact is, at some point, though, you have to put that aside and decide what's best for the country, right?
Right.
Well, you have
and historically, I'm sorry, BZ, to interrupt.
Sure.
Historically, America is very, very hesitant to get rid of a seated president in times of war.
Yes. So it is that catch-22.
Right. And look, if without showbiz in the next segment, if we have to go to war, we have to go to war, and I don't want to go to war.
Right.
Please, nobody read into or misinterpret what I'm saying. I do not want to go to war.
Well, you know what? If we didn't have 8 years of weak foreign policy, this wouldn't even be an issue.
Exactly.
Right?
This would not even be an issue.
That's the precise point. It started in 1978. 1978, 1979. When we gave away the Panama Canal, started with that particular president, pretty much continued even through, obviously continued through Clinton, but even continued through the Bushes. There are various statements that they could have made but chose not to.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need right now. And we only have a couple minutes left in the segment, but I think a statement needs to be made with Russia. Listen, first and foremost, like we discussed before, anyone on the left who's trying to champion this Russian Trump connection that we know is no longer is not there.
Right.
But see, this is how stilted and insane the Democrats are. The party of doves now becoming instantly the party of the hawks for one reason only.
Election
because
power.
they can't get over the fact that the person that they couldn't envision being president for a slight moment is now the president of the United States. That's how far askew the Democrats are.
Right.
They don't mind pushing
Right, as long as it benefits them.
war and making war noise.
And for all the bitching and moaning they've ever done about it, and now, we got to stand up. Well, you know what? That's fine. Remember the last time you guys voted to go to war? And then what was it? The next election cycle? Oh, we didn't advocate a war on terror, and we didn't want this, and we didn't want that.
Yeah, I never voted for that.
Hillary, you voted for it. Everybody in Congress voted for it, and it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
But the problem is they know American voters have a short memory, and they can bullshit
That's why they need That's why they need it to happen now.
Like Harry Reid saying that Mitt Romney, he never released his tax returns.
Because if it happens 2 or 3 years from now, people will remember that they voted for it.
Yep.
If it happens now, 3 years from now, you're facing an election cycle, people aren't going to remember what the Democrats
To
were.
a point that you're about to make in another segment.
Ooh.
So, folks, that's why you have to listen, because Clint will make an astounding observation.
That's called a segue. But to wrap up really quickly, there's a whole list of things that he can do. I think Ukraine's a brilliant approach. I also think that
targeted sanctions, easy.
Syria, some targeted sanctions.
You can speak very loudly to him through Syria.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And the Ukraine.
And the fact that Russian troops are there.
Mm-hmm. Well, get them out. It's coming. I understand people who, and I agree, use of force is not always the best approach on things. However,
right,
showing that you can use force is sometimes important to remind them, and showing them you have the balls is just as important as actually using force. I think that's where the Moab came in. I think it showed that we're no longer afraid to pull the trigger when we need to and fuck some shit up.
I still see that, General. Hey, how many of these things do we have?
Yeah, just keep going.
I think about 40. Yeah, okay, give me another one.
Give me 20.
I think the conversation between Mattis and Trump went like this with regard to Syria. Mr. President, I'd like to throw 30 tomahawks at
60!
Syria. And Trump said, double it.
Double it. Double it. Double down right now. Double down. I don't disagree with that statement as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go.
And maybe that's why they didn't call Trump, because if they said, hey, we want to use the Moab, send 3 of them.
I don't know what. Use, I'm with the meeting of China. Use 5. 5. Just use 5. Who knows? Maybe we're right, and that would kind of be awesome. All right, we're up against the break. When we come back, Clint's got some North Korea. Hello.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying capitalist, stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this wonderful evening, April the 19th.
Before you jump into things, can I make an observation?
You most certainly can, my good friend.
Thank you. 1 hour has gone.
Like wildfire.
Boom.
Like wildfire.
That. But here's why. It's because I'm still the third wheel, but it's because you two have an interplay between yourselves. Let me give you a little bit of inside baseball, folks. Clint comes in at basically the last moment with
like the gun's fired
with a set of topics, and he assigns topics, and everybody picks them up. And literally, this occurs maybe 5 minutes before the show.
That's about right.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's correct. And these two guys
that's on a good night.
Have the ability to take these topics, make them professional, and the reason that you listen is because of the interplay between Sean and Clint. My show is heavily formatted. I've got to figure out what to put in 2 hours. I have to plan it down to the gnat's eyebrow because there's no one to bounce anything off of. And the reason people listen to you guys is because of the interplay. So I just have to tell you, the reason the hour went by so fast is because you guys make it look easy.
Oh, thank you.
And
I'm
I'm here to tell you, at least on my end, on my show, it's everything but.
Well, you know what, kid? Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can be like,
"Yeah, look, sport. It's it's just one of those learned things, you know."
You know what, young man? Let's go get me a coffee. We'll talk. Great secrets.
Look, Junior, while you go
trying to be kind.
Junior, while you go polish your brass and boots, here's no. It's I appreciate that
very much.
Look, one of the things I think about this show, and you kind of hit on it. To be fair. I texted a photograph of the topic board ahead of time.
But you never do that.
Right, because
that's the first time you've ever done that. But the point is,
that's because usually I get here 20 minutes, and today it was 10.
You guys.
So at the 20-minute mark, I texted a picture.
You guys have been working together for so long that you know how to fill in the rest of each other's sentences, and that's something that's rare. It's unique, so that's why people listen.
Well, I appreciate that, but here's where that comes from. Here's where that comes from. Anybody who's been with us the entire time knows that this show got started. This show is literally an extension of a coffee break that Sean and I used to have every day. Literally. Like, we would literally meet for coffee.
It's so true.
Every day and have these discussions. And it wouldn't be like, what do you want to talk about today? And format it.
Just break into it.
It would literally be, hey, get this. And so that's how we started. So we continue that today. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we continue that. So we come in with topics, and we kind of know what the hot button topics are and whatnot, but we just enjoy each other's genuine reaction and banter.
Yeah.
But what I'm attempting to tell you is that how long have you guys been doing some form of radio?
Coffee breaks?
Some form of radio.
Radio, we've been going on 5 years now.
5 years.
Okay. So what you bring is you bring 5 years of you make it sound easy, you make it look easy.
Thank you.
And it comes off on the air that way, and it's conversational, and people can sit down and listen And it literally is as though you're talking to everybody on the air, and you've enveloped your entire audience, and they're taking part in chat, and you make it so easy. You make it look easy.
I appreciate that.
And people find it conversational, and that's why you have an audience.
And slightly insane, and I do appreciate it. I really do. Listen,
but to me, that's a reflection of why that last hour went so fast.
Well, no, I appreciate that too. That's a big deal.
Fun, right? This is still fun, and it's been fun from the beginning, and it is a lot of fun. But BZ, I got to add that you bring something to the mix that is definitely different from what Clint and I bring to the mix, but it's also very meshing, if that's a good way to put it. It fits really nicely for a litany of different reasons.
No, it really does.
Okay, but let me make the bottom line here, because I've worked with each of you singly. Me and Sean is not the same. Me and Clint is not the same, unless the two of you are here at the same time. Then it's the same. I can fill in. It can be me and you, Clint. It can be me and Sean. But everyone knows, and to me it's patently obvious, it just ain't the same.
Well,
because if one of you is missing that long-standing, good friend, get along, I know you, you know me, interplay is gone. It simply is. There's a mixture that's here that occurs because of you. Folks are not listening necessarily to political insight. Yes, they listen for that, but they're also mostly listening for the way you two talk, the way you speak to each other, how easily it happens, and they appreciate that it's like they just walked into a conversation, they agree with you already, and they want to listen to more. They want you to talk more.
You basically just said that you're not with us for our brains, you're with us for our looks.
And that's
essentially, I'm good with that. Use us, right? Like, use us.
But it's what you know in college, in any training course that you've gone to. You can be a subject matter expert of name something, and you can have the most fabulous message. But if you're not the right messenger, nobody's going to listen to you, nor will they give a shit about what you say.
Right.
And people care about what you say.
I think that's it's very nice to hear. I really appreciate that.
I'm just telling you the truth.
We need to clip parts of that because that was a beautiful
I'm gonna
commercial.
Need that forever. I actually, when I die, that's going to be at my eulogy.
Right. Like you just eulogized Sean.
I didn't
so you
bring
know.
much else to the table, but listen to this from 45 years ago.
And that old fat fart is long gone.
It's going to outlive us all.
Yeah, probably.
It's going to outlive us all.
He's so damn pickled with vodka.
What's wrong with that?
Two things from the chat room. Ken likes to point out that BZ, this is not what you were saying at the water cooler earlier today. And you were most likely getting ready to renegotiate your contract. So
No. My shameless contract. Let's use the right adjective here. My shameless contract.
And Ken, by the way, I love you. I appreciate your insight. Sean raised his hand and said, I have to read this because it's from the black guy. So I apologize for the blatant bigot coming out, and for anybody else who didn't get their comments read.
I actually wrote that on the whiteboard.
I just want you to understand
Did you hear what
why that is.
It's a whiteboard.
Yeah,
why isn't it called the blackboard?
You know why? Because it comes from the blatant bigot over there. That's why. So Ken, that's all, brother. I just wanted to let you know. And I noticed, Ken, I said brother. Sean wouldn't have given you that same courtesy.
That's true.
And by the way, when you said you met BZ at the water cooler earlier, Sean said, yeah, right, he meant purple drank, and he gave me an air high five.
That's not what I said. I said, was Ken there to service the water cooler?
Oh, that's what it was. Or to serve the water. I don't know.
I don't remember what it was.
But Ken, we love you. I apologize.
Guest
for my
8123 in the chat says we have chemistry and that the bromance is touching.
You can tell we're touching from here. That's weird. How do you know that?
I love it. And Ken also wants to add that it's Kool-Aid, not purple drank. So
I thought it was Hawaiian Punch.
I miss
purple drank.
I miss me the Hawaiian Punch.
North Korea. Here's the name of this segment. North Korea is scary, crazy, but I still kind of giggle.
Hello.
And that's why. How do you take a fat Asian kid seriously?
No, you can't.
Right?
Except those around him. Here's the thing. How many commanders died when that missile this Sunday did not cork off and exploded right out of the launcher?
It corked off.
It corked off. How many heads rolled?
First of all, how many
because of that?
How many immediately committed suicide because it was the quicker way to go?
Because it's much preferable.
They were like, kaboom, bang! That's all we heard. Like 15 scientists down. Here's the other thing, though, too. If you're a young up-and-comer in an army of a couple million, right? Say you're a private, and right now you sit at the DMZ, the worst possible place.
You're now a general because everybody else is dead.
At the rate they're going, right? A couple weeks from now, you could be Supreme Allied Commander.
Yeah. Right.
It's looking good for you.
Look, so North Korea, they're still at it. I mean,
what?
Right?
They're still
at it. Well, I mean, what's more to say on this? They're still.
It's like a horse with two broken legs dragging itself across the finish line. Like, he's still at it, folks.
Yeah, and you got to kind of call it as you see it. But people, it's not that we're not taking them seriously, because they are being taken seriously. And look, here's the thing about North Korea, and they are getting serious with their weapons. There's no secret that they want a nuclear weapon. They have a nuclear weapon. They want intercontinental capability. That is no secret to anybody. Do they have the ability, if things really cooked off, to send a missile into Seoul and with a nuclear warhead on it and obliterate U.S. troops and the capital of South Korea? Absolutely, they have that capability.
Yes.
They have limited range missiles.
They can hit 20 miles south of their border.
Yes, they can. They're looking for an ICBM capability.
That's what they're looking for.
They're looking for a solid fuel. The problem with them right now is they're looking for a solid fuel launch vehicle as opposed to
That's the problem with them right now,
to a
BZ?
liquid fuel. Yeah, they're looking.
That's the problem with them?
They're looking for a delivery vehicle.
Did anybody else miss that?
So that they can hit the Western United States.
BZ, you just said, here's the problem with North Korea. They're looking for solid fuel. I would submit that the problem with North Korea is Little Kim.
He's going to get it.
Each his own.
I think PZ was saying that the problem they're trying to solve right now.
No, I like my story better. This is my segment, and that's what BZ said.
That's right, and I'm sticking to it.
But they have the capability right now.
They could
if things went crazy,
they could take 10 trucks and install 10 nuclear devices in those trucks, drive them to the DMZ, and cook them off.
Yeah,
today
they can launch a missile into South Korea.
Yes,
today.
Yes, they could.
And they could also deliver a dirty bomb like that today.
So
exactly.
So they could nuke U.S. troops right now that are stationed in South Korea. This is my point. Right? They could launch it, 20, 30 miles, whatever it is, south of the North Korea. Boom, they could launch it. Our troops, however many we have there, done.
They might even be able to hit Japan at this point.
Right? They may be able to hit Japan. Here's the interesting thing. Hawaii is looking to get their civil defense force and their bunkers back online.
And that's a smart thing.
Nothing has been done. This is liberal Hawaii, folks. Nothing has been done with these bunkers since, I think, 1982 or 1983.
Right.
They're restocking them with medical supplies. They're restocking them with food and water. These are fallout shelters that they're looking to get into play because there is some speculation that North Korea can hit Hawaii.
Well, and I just want to touch on a couple things.
Yeah.
Last administration, we were essentially told, don't worry about North Korea. There's nothing to worry about with North Korea. North
Right.
Korea can't get out of its way. This administration, you have, hey, you may want to start restocking your bunkers. Why? Because the information that's out there, or is at least being disseminated on some level, is more truthful. And we've talked about this when we talked about North Korea before. They may not be very successful, but they only have to be successful once.
This is I don't know if Hawaii is doing this at the behest of the federal government or if they're getting intel and some of their lawmakers are actually being smart and saying, we actually need to do this. And these are Democratic representatives in Hawaii. that are looking to push this through.
And they have more intel than the average person.
So, North Korea may have the capability of reaching Hawaii. Their missile systems are not accurate.
Nope.
So although they may be willing to strike Pearl, because remember, folks, we just sailed a quote-unquote armada, right, to the region.
Right up the old yin-yang.
So, nice. High five. That's a good one right
Not
there.
bad.
Right there.
Not bad.
Can we write that shit down?
They can try and send a nuke to Pearl.
They got 3 carrier groups
right
up outside North Korea. They got the Nimitz group.
The Ranger?
I
thought the Ranger just showed up.
No, the Ranger's gone. The Ranger's been decommissioned.
Oh, the Carl
for
Vinson.
years.
I'm sorry.
They've
The
got
Carl Vinson.
The Vinson.
It was the Carl Vinson.
The Nimitz and the Reagan.
Yeah.
All 3 carrier groups.
So they could launch it at Pearl, and with the inaccuracy in those systems, they could hit, say, downtown Honolulu, where you have all of the major hospitals.
I'm looking at a graphic right now. There are 4 missiles that allegedly they possess. The Nodong, which that's right. I'm reading it correctly.
And there's a reason.
That's right.
That was named after Little Kim, coincidentally.
That has
those people don't know that.
That has a radius to South Korea. The Taepodong, number 2,
the tapered dong
has the ability.
Dong, which is when you have a no dong and you need to add one, you tape a dong on.
Right, or it's the Jewish version,
which has the capability to hit Japan. The Musadan, which has the capability to almost hit India, and the Taepodong 2, which has the ability to hit the Alaska.
I can't help it. That's the worst part. I'm giggling when you name them. And these
they've got the no dong, the tapered dong 1, the tapered dong 2, and the Lexington Steel.
Here's what an asshole I am. We're talking about a rogue nation with nuclear weapons potentially being able to hit American soil
and laughing our asses off.
And I'm giggling at the dong comments.
Yes. What is wrong with this? What are you taking a picture of? Tell me it's a selfie.
No, booze.
Oh, perfect.
I just had to do a.
So
yes,
Mike Pence.
Right now, they do have the capability to hit Hawaii.
Yes.
Right. And so this is where this is coming from. And again, the dong isn't very accurate. I mean, it keeps trying to go in the wrong tube every time.
Yeah, right. Its problem that it had this past weekend was premature explosion.
It was.
Right.
And look, they're trying to send it right up our ass, and it's going to a different place.
Not even close.
Well, what did they say about that explosion?
The Americans caused it?
That it may have been hacked.
Well,
where did they get the instrumentation to put into those missiles?
Obama.
And through whose hands has that instrumentation gone?
Obama
That's
saved
the big
us.
question.
That's what the left is saying.
Oh, yeah, that was
Obama
Obama's
did
fault.
that.
Well, BZ, I agree because you have one of the most shut off countries, especially
Yes,
when
you
it
do.
comes to internet and access. Right? They do not play well with the rest of the world.
Isolated and controlled.
Very isolated, very controlled. And we know that just as a country, hacking them is very, very hard. And that's part of the reason that we worry about North Korea so much is as much as we know, that much more we don't know about their capabilities and their power. We think we do. But like you said, you go back to liberal Hawaii talking about bunkers. That says to me, what we think we know is not good. Right? Same thing with Alaska. The potential is right there.
And the vice president was just in the DMZ zone saying, hey, the era of strategic patience is over.
Well, and that was part of the Obama doctrine. That's like leading from the rear.
Yeah,
What the fuck are you talking about?
And China, we talked a little bit about it last week. China realizes how freaking crazy Little Kim is. They put 150,000 troops on their border. Are they there to prevent North Korean people from going into China, or are they there to go into North Korea?
Depending on what their need is, right? You know those guys have mop gear. You know they can go.
Yes.
Oh, you bet they do.
And here's the other interesting thing. There's somebody actually came out and said, hey, one of North Korea's plans is to actually kidnap Americans if we get too uppity.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you do then? Right?
Well, we know we have journalists.
Well, but
we're watching people broadcast from Pyongyang.
Absolutely.
Every night.
Absolutely. I am also would like to bring this back to the same ideas that we were having about Iran last year with potential nuke situation. Same thing, limited ICBM ability, not very stable, but the potential is there that they could miniaturize and deploy a nuclear weapon. What was one of the major options that we all discussed when we were talking about Iran? What was, right? Limited and tactical airstrikes.
And look, we have smaller nuclear missiles that can be deployed from.
You can put a warhead on a Tomahawk. You can nuclearize a Tomahawk.
Absolutely. And look, would this administration do that to hit North Korea?
I don't know. But we would certainly. I'll be the first one to admit that when it came to Iran, I said that option has to be on the table.
Absolutely. I really liked what Spicer said. I watched a press briefing with him. I believe it was on Monday, and some members of the media were trying to box him in on North Korea and the ability to use military response or the military response. Mm-hmm. And I loved his answer. What he said was, look, we're not going to take any option off the table.
Logically so.
And the response was, well, so are you saying that there is a military option? And he said, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we are not going to tell you what our options are. We are not going to tell you what's on the table or off the table. Because the moment we do that, the enemy knows what we are or are not willing to do. And the president likes to negotiate and come at things from a position of strength, and if the other side knows where your boundaries are, you severely limit your ability to engage in effective discussion, dialogue, debate, whatever it was essentially what he was saying.
The president also said the same thing, I think it was Sunday morning.
He said the same thing on the campaign trail.
But he said the same thing Sunday morning with Fox News when she was asking, I believe, about North Korea. Hey, what? And he said, hey, I don't telegraph what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
We don't do that. Other administrations might have done that, but that is detrimental to our military if we need him. Objective.
But they're used to asking the question and getting the answer.
Exactly.
But here's what else I like about him continuing to say this. On the campaign trail, he'd say this, and those on the left, and even some on the right, those on the left would say, well, he's saying that because he has no idea what he'd do. And some on the right were saying, yeah, maybe. But now, the fact that he's continued that into his administration, and we know decisions have been made in terms of dealing with these nations on a foreign policy, on a military basis, I believe him.
Yes.
Well, the other
Before,
thing is,
I was kind of like, maybe he doesn't know. I don't know. I had a little doubt in my head. But now I believe that he actually knows what he's doing or is capable of listening to those that do know what they're doing and making an educated decision.
Nor do we know what's going on in back-channel communications with anyone, because he's not going to tell you.
Well, and here's,
Nor should he.
Nor should he.
Ken in the chat room brought up a good point. War with Korea threatens China's holdings of U.S. debt and a potential ceasing of repayment. I almost wonder if you can kind of reverse blackmail him a little bit, right?
Well, I bet that's what he's doing.
Hey, you guys, you want your money, right? I mean, we owe you a couple trillion, and we'll make good on it. But how much do you want it?
Well, the BRICS
We talked about that a couple weeks ago, right?
We want North Korea to kind of stop.
Remember what I said when I said, what are they going to do?
Right.
Are they going to come parachute in here all Red Donnie and take their money? No. Do you remember we had this discussion?
Yes.
So, China needs to kind of help us out a little bit, and I think China recognized that. And the world is against North Korea. It's not like North Korea is over there and we just don't like them because they're communists. They're a real freaking problem. And they are defying everybody.
Well, and the other thing, too, Go ahead. Sorry.
What I was going to say, I wanted to come back to the economy thing real quick. Again, they're not taking coal from North Korea, which is a big deal. And who are they now buying coal from?
That was a huge statement.
Yes, and do you remember when we talked about this last week? I think I made the point. I said, "Hey, Trump just just got rid of a bunch of coal restrictions. I bet we're going to start selling that to China. Wouldn't that be great?" And guess what? Mm-hmm. We're selling that to China. I'm not saying we nailed it, folks, here at Sackheads Radio Show, but
economically, it's a very important issue. The BRICS nations already tried that. They tried to step away from the dollar. They were not very successful. Someone in chat was mentioning that. But I also mentioned about 2 weeks ago that Russia and China are colluding in terms of trying to buy as much gold as they can so that they can put themselves onto specifically a gold standard.
Which we should be doing.
And once they can do that, then they can eschew the American dollar, and they can go to the gold standard and have it backed for the yen or the ruble, depending on what they agree.
Which is smart.
It's incredibly smart. Because
economics.
If you were an investor, Clint, and you had the ability to invest in something from the United States, which is backed by air and backed by good thoughts, or you could take an investment that let's say it gets to that point where Russia's backed by gold, a gold standard, or China is backed by actual gold, a gold standard.
Yep.
Where would you rather place your money and be more confident?
I'm going to place my money in metals.
So, 00 green every single time.
There you go.
That's actually a true statement coming from Sackhead Sean, because I have personally witnessed it. And those of you joining us for Freedom Fest this year, July in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Paris, you're going to witness it also. And you can also get your picture taken with the Sackheads, which we actually did last year.
That's right. It's only $75 each, and we give you a frame.
We do give you a frame, but not a picture in it.
Right.
We give you an empty frame.
How'd you like that, by the way?
Very good.
That was a beautiful segue. Feel free to break the commercial right now.
Awesome.
Thank you.
One last thing really quick, and I want everyone to think about this. I see it a lot about Warhawks in the chat room.
Wait, they're calling us Warhawks?
No, just the discussion of different people wanting to go to war and not wanting to go to war, and the fact that the globalists oftentimes want to go to war because it's a way to expand unilateral power, so to speak. I ask you this. Do you believe limited military strikes can avoid an all-out war?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want the answer now or later?
Now.
I just want people to think about that.
Now.
That's my question to everybody out there listening
now.
to HR Media.
Answer now.
Sure they can.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not shuriken, not like the throwing star, but sure it can.
Right,
sure,
that's Japan, not North Korea.
Shuriken.
Consumer media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome! Welcome back. Welcome back.
What are you doing?
Welcome back.
It's playing a song right now.
I know. It is the last half hour of the Sackheads Radio Show. It has gone by in such an incredible rush. It's staggering.
It's always a rush.
It is.
It's always a rush.
It's absolutely so. And you know what else is a rush? California. California is a rush as well. California is, in fact, just as you wrote on the board, Clint, what is California?
Batshit crazy.
Absolutely.
Batshit crazy.
And we found it out last weekend when we had the lovely little Antifa people get together in Berserkly, the People's Republic of Berserkly. Ostensibly, they were there to protest Trump's tax returns not being released. Here's an interesting little tidbit, factoid. All presidents get audited. Period.
Yes, they
End of
do.
statement. All of them
really
do, yes. So when he says that he's...
Is that like the IRS just saying, hey, we fuck the American people, so we might as well fuck the boss, too?
Could be. Very well. Could be. Just ask Koskinen what a dolt that guy is, or former Lois Lerner. In any event, in Berserkly, Antifa showed up for these peaceful protests of Trump's tax records not being released, and all it was an excuse to riot. And then you saw photographs, videos, of many people being assaulted, the terrible violence, a guy getting hit directly in the head by one of those U-lock bicycle locks, which are extremely heavy, and another guy assaulted by a skateboard, a very large skateboard. Of course, both of those people were hit directly on the head. And as that's occurring, and of course Berkeley PD full well knows exactly what's occurring,
who's doing it.
2 blocks away, they sit. And they were sitting at the behest of the Berserkly mayor, and they were sitting at the behest of the chief of Berkeley.
Those police officers failed to act.
I agree.
Those police officers, every single one of them, in my opinion, was derelict of duty.
They absolutely were.
And the chief of police allowed that to happen. The mayor prohibited the police from doing their job. I think the mayor should be brought up on charges of 148.
Yes, and I would go higher. I would go dereliction of duty. There must, I would guess
69 because force or fear.
Yes, executive, right.
And the police chief should be brought up on charges.
I mean, this could be a class action because so many persons were involved. You could take it criminally.
And got hit, right?
I would take it civilly as well because now there's evidence,
and
actual evidence of standing back.
And the Nuremberg defense does not apply. I was ordered to stand down. Guess what? You have an obligation to disobey an unlawful order.
Especially when you know that there's violence, and you know that there's violence occurring in front of you,
now,
2 blocks
now,
away.
If it's a 1 or 2 officer patrol car, I get it. You're not going to run into a crowd of
you have your right
200 people.
You have your right team ready
yeah, but
to
see,
go.
that's exactly it. The video that we saw was of a riot unit. There are 4 officers in this unit, ready, in riot gear, knowing full well this is going to happen and is happening.
There better be more than 4 officers to go into a crowd that
per
big.
car.
Yeah, exactly.
Per car.
But when,
that's my point.
When
per
have we
car.
seen this before? The Milo riots, right?
Well, yes, exactly. They have a history of this. So does San Jose. San Jose PD has a history of this.
Yes.
At the same time, the chief of police, Margot Bennett, Lost her gun, police badge, ammunition, department-issued laptop, iPad, cell phone, and diamond ring when an unmarked Ford Escape was broken into when it was parked near the Mud Puppies dog grooming business at Point Isabel Regional Shoreline in Richmond.
How does she leave her shit in her car?
Yes.
Isn't there a new California law?
There certainly is.
That requires...
Richmond, of all places.
Now, why...
That requires...
Isn't that chief of police subject to charges?
It's an infraction. That section's an infraction.
It could be now.
No, it is. That penal code section that requires you to lock up your weapon if you're in a vehicle, even if you're law enforcement or whatever it is, it's an infraction violation.
What about...
But it's still a violation.
Yes.
If you're that...
What's going to happen to her?
Okay, to my CCW people out there, do you ever lock your gun in a car that's not like in a trunk or in a lockbox affixed to your vehicle? Ever?
No!
No! That's common sense! They don't even have to teach you that in the class.
But when you're a police chief, you don't need common sense. You're a chief.
No.
Especially at Berkeley, right?
You can lose your gun, your badge, a laptop,
your soul, because you're Berkeley.
And who knows what kind of correspondence or information is in all of these things that can be broken into.
You know what's in there. You know what's in there.
Administrative information, all about the department.
And yes.
And likely all the emails, all the correspondence, various orders, interior communications that you wouldn't want exposed to anybody else.
Yeah, personnel
for any reason
issues
whatsoever. The HIPAA issues and the personal rights issues getting disseminated, if they in fact do that, are massive. The exposure is huge for something like that. So ostensibly, the only reason that they had those riots is because they could, and they did. And
and they were allowed to happen.
Of course
they were allowed to happen.
The mayor called the chief, who called the assistant chief, who called the captains and the lieutenants, down to the sergeants, who told the troops, until a certain point is reached, you will not be going in.
Yeah.
And they didn't. For the longest time.
How many people were injured? I'm sorry, Sean. How many people were injured as a result of that inaction? Do we know?
I don't know.
It's going to be in the dozens.
I would expect in the dozens. Well, you could watch the videos and see that these people were seriously injured.
Anybody go to the hospital?
They had this one particular guy hit with the headlock. I watched that video. Blood was streaming down his head, and he fell to the sidewalk.
Yeah, you had that U-lock is the kryptonite ones. They're
that's exactly what they are. They're extremely heavy.
Folks, this is not like this is the first time.
That's .245. That's a deadly weapon.
Yes.
That is still a felony.
Well, I don't know if it's still a felony.
It's a wobbler.
Folks, this is not the first time this group has engaged in this violence.
No, and you looked in the crowds. These are not locals.
No.
These are people that are paid to do this.
And they come for war. They come dressed for war. They come bearing weapons. They have a playbook. This is not a surprise.
No.
It's not like Berkeley PD was shocked that this went off.
They knew this was coming. Why? You guys all know. All of these departments in California, they all talk to each other. And they all find out what works, and they all find out what doesn't. And they have consortiums, and the chiefs get together, and the sheriffs get together, and they share intelligence about these things. Berkeley knew everything that was going to happen.
What does the Berkeley and San Francisco what do those chiefs of police do to other agencies that have been through it, and they're like, hey, we had this happen to us once, and here's what we do now.
But here's the difference. Outside of the attorney general or maybe the sheriff in the county charging Berkeley PD, the command staff and the chief, they know nothing's going to happen. So what they want to do...
Well, who's your AG, for fuck's sake, in California now?
Right, and you could make the argument that the sheriff in the county, because it's within his county, it's a crime committed, absolutely could file charges, etc. But we all know at the end of the day, the people who elect that mayor and appoint that chief are the voters of Berkeley, and that's the only people they answer to.
And they're going to keep them.
Exactly. Oh, no, they're heroes right now for allowing that to happen.
I'm sure of it, because it would be judgmental to go in and try to stop these people from rioting, because they need to make a statement against the onerous and terribly onerous right-wing Trump supporters. So, statement made. and Antifa supported. You know, they only went in when everyone heaved this sort of collective sigh from the chief and the mayor and said, all right, I guess we have to go in now. Okay. And then they did.
Well, we have to make it look good. By the way, during that video, during that incident, there's a video out online right now between everyone remember the Pepsi commercial that lasted for about a day with the police and the Black Lives
Matter? Oh, and the chick walked up to the
yeah. It wasn't Black Lives Matter. It was just just some other group.
Anyhow, doesn't matter. And there's a video from the riots in Berkeley this week where you have the Antifa people on one side, the Trump people on the other side, and they're about to go get it. And somebody ran up and put a Pepsi on a dumpster between the two groups.
Did they really?
I missed that.
From which side?
I think he was just there in the middle. And of course, the Antifa people picked it up and threw it at the Trump people. So that's
that's so. So Pepsi basically, what you're saying is,
right?
Pepsi had an idea and it was used as a weapon by the a-holes.
Yes,
and Pepsi allowed that to happen.
You know what we should do? We should send the chief and the mayor on a trip somewhere to learn how to become actual leaders that follow the law. And I bet you we could get United to let them fly for free.
Oh, now that's a delicious idea.
I'm just saying.
Speaking of delicious ideas, you guys have heard that Ann Coulter wants to speak at UC Berkeley.
Oh, it's never going to happen.
And you heard that UC Berkeley instead said, by the way, we've canceled your speaking. And have you heard the newest from Ann Coulter? The newest from Ann Coulter in a tweet is, I'm going anyway. I'm going to show up. What are they going to do? Arrest me.
Wow.
She's ready to be arrested. So it'll be interesting to see.
What are they going to arrest her for?
They do so.
Inciting a riot, the same riot that weeks earlier they allowed to grow knowing that it was coming and did nothing?
What are they going to arrest her for?
This is the same state that decided it was a good thing to charge the, kill the messenger kind of thing when they exposed the terrible and heinous parting out of babies that occurred on these various videos, and that they were going to charge the persons that went inside to acquire these videos.
Well, you brought up UC Berkeley. Did you see what the students at the University of Davis did?
Yeah, what did they do?
In keeping with the California's batshit crazy thing.
Yes, the People's Republic of Davis.
The UC Davis Student Senate passed legislation. Basically, it was a rule that said that the American flag shall stand visibly at every Senate meeting. It is now quoted, "It shall not be compulsory for the flag of the United States of America to be displayed at the ASUCD student meetings or Senate meetings."
Which means now I think that you have to purposely petition for the flag to be there because the default is it won't be there.
Right.
That's the default. If you want it to be there, you have to petition for it, and then, of course, that equals that people can obviously shoot that petition down.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? UC Davis should... The entire fucking UC system should lose tax dollar funding.
All of it. All of it.
All of it.
Yep. All of it. State and federal.
Yes.
Oh, but then they won't have any money. Uh-huh.
Good.
Uh-huh.
Good. The most educated people I talk to on both sides of the aisle are people that have not gone through fucking college. Look, am I incorrect here?
No, it's being taught and learning. You may have been taught. You may be able to take tests, but what have you actually learned?
Right.
And it's not knowledge. It's regurgitation of memorized information.
Two distinctive and separate elements.
The exact
instruction
opposite of what you're supposed to learn in college.
Instruction versus actual learning. Here's another interesting...
It's how to think.
Oh, critical thinking, forget it.
Right. We are the students today are regurgitating information. They're memorizing data, and they are not being taught how to analyze that data and apply critical thinking to interpret a wide variety of data.
Well,
they're getting specific information or specific bits of data that they are regurgitating from a specific point of view.
If anything conflicts with their worldview, it has to be bad. That's what the instructors are teaching.
Yeah.
I don't think they're memorizing a damn thing. I don't think they mostly couldn't care.
Well, they're memorizing some things, right? Like the dates the Black Panthers came to this California state capitol.
Pushes their agenda versus a true and actual history. That's what they memorize. It's just pathetic.
Well, certain things have to be memorized for standardized testing purposes, right?
Specific California, just bullshit, batshit craziness.
I'm looking at a series of articles here, and it all kind of dovetails insofar as here's one.
Well, hang on. Can I finish with this one thought on
Sure,
this?
you bet.
Because I want to read a quote from this jackass Itmar Waxman said from UC Davis. He goes, quote, and this is what he told to a CBS affiliate in Sacramento, California. The concept of the United States of America and patriotism is different for every individual.
No, it's not.
Now, that's important. He didn't say the United States of America or the concept of patriotism. He said the concept of the United States of America.
It means the country as a whole, the concept as a whole.
How interesting is that? Because you're no longer teaching the United States, or that thought process that has been instilled in this fucktard is, this particular
Individual?
jackass, individual works too, is not that the United States is exceptional, is not that the United States is a sovereign country, is not that the United States is a nation of laws, but it's a concept.
That means you don't accept that it's actual?
It's a concept.
Concepts can be changed.
Concepts can be changed.
They're flexible.
They're moving.
They're living and breathing.
Yes. How interesting is that?
It's sad, actually.
It's SB 18 interesting.
And why has that not been talked about?
Well, because...
Listen to the words that are being used.
That would bring forth their agenda, and they don't want to have their true agenda brought forward in conversation.
At this point, I think they do.
They're not ready yet, because they don't have the White House. They will when they have the White House back.
Again.
Again,
because before it was on full display and America rejected it.
Right. So now they have to be more sneaky about it. So they tried the full forward approach, right? They tried the in-your-face approach. Didn't go over so well.
As a quickie aside, just because of that, and you're talking about
I like quickies.
keeping the House, keeping the Senate. Kansas, we won. And then there's the election with Ossoff in Georgia. And that's going to be a runoff. And it's not impossible that he does win, but the Democrats spent literally millions and millions of dollars to make statements in those two elections, and it's not clear that, well, they didn't win in Kansas, and it's not clear that they're going to win in Georgia, but already they're trying to throw as much money as possible into that. Now, having said that, getting back to batshit crazy California, I'm looking at a couple of headlines here. And these are headlines from some left-leaning newspapers. One of them says from the Sacramento Bee. The Sacramento Bee is a
rag,
a left-leaning newspaper.
Leaning,
has been for absolutely years.
Don't you ever insult rags again.
Leaning?
Hell, I used to work for McClatchy, for Christ's sake. Article, top, California sees sharp increase in crime fueling political debate.
Shock.
PolitiFact, has violent crime been on the rise in California since 2011? Yes. LA Times, violent crime in LA jumps for third straight year as police deal with issues.
Well, what's happened?
Mercury News, violent crime rises in California in the United States. From LADDA, Prop 47 fallout continues. Once again, California suffers a rise in crime.
Oh, wait, they actually acknowledged Prop 47?
Oh, yes.
Because normally it's just we don't know why.
Yes.
Oh, but it's not because of that.
Then crime trends.
Or immigration.
Crime trends in California from the PPIC. Crime rates increased by 8.4% in 2015 to 426 per 100,000 residents. From Cal Matters, California crime on the rise. That's from AB 109. That's from Prop 47. And that's from Prop 57. AB 109, which was the relocation, basically took people that were convicted of felonies and minimized the sentences, minimized parole, and took a lot of people that would customarily have gone into the state of California system and pushed them down into the county systems. The counties were not ready to house people who came from Pelican Bay, who were gangbangers of the nth degree, who were MS-13 members. Their jails, new or old, were not designed for these people, yet they housed them. Then there was Prop 47, voted by the inane, blithering idiots in the state of California, which then said, it's a great idea. Shall we not take crimes and minimize them? In other words, 487, which is grand theft. It used to be to commit grand theft, to make it a felony, you had to steal something worth $400 or more. Now, you double that. Now, you have to steal something to commit a felony in terms of theft in the state of California of value $800 or more. So all the meth heads, the junkies, the heroin people have decided that they can commit crime after crime after crime as long as they keep it beneath a certain monetary threshold, and all they do is they get issued a citation and they walk away.
Yes.
And here's the other thing I want to bring up to this. This is the violent crime rate that is rising in California. And folks, to give you a little information here, law enforcement agencies in California, particularly in cities like Sacramento, underreport.
Yes.
They will respond to a crime scene that may be a legitimate felony on its face. It may be a felony grand theft, say, and they will underreport it as a misdemeanor theft.
Or they will do whatever they can to find it, instead of one felony, be a whole bunch of little crimes.
Or they might take a felony battery with injury and cause it a simple assault and battery.
Or they'll take a robbery, which is the taking of another person's items through force or fear, and they will separate it and turn it into a theft and an assault and battery.
Yes.
Well, and then there was Prop 57. Prop 57 was recently approved by the people, and what that did is that took crimes that were now under Prop 57. Are you aware that 192 manslaughter, in various cases of manslaughter, that's not a felony.
How do you
anymore.
remember these numbers?
I just do. Rape. Some cases of rape are no longer a felony.
Why are you staring at Sean right now?
In terms of sentencing. There are various child abuse sections that are minimized to a misdemeanor that are no longer a felony in consideration of sentencing. This is insanity, and the people of the state of California voted for it.
But if you have nunchucks, it's a felony.
Well, if you have a gun with something that has a grippy thingy on the front, as the leftists would say,
scary looking,
scary thingy.
If you have a scary thingy on your gun, you're going to prison.
And a grippy thingy, and a grippy thingy on the rear that's scary looking.
And if you have any sort of sticker on it that is like a skull, face, or anything like that, even worser.
Yeah, if you have a scary thingy and a sticker on your gun, whew.
You're going to do time, mister.
Oh, yeah, you are.
But it's insanity writ large. And California wonders why the crime rate is rising. And California wonders why business is leaving. And California wonders why everyone calls it the state of fruits and nuts.
So do you have a prediction?
Well, no one wonders anymore.
About when the state is going to turn red again?
It's going to be a long time. Here's another thing. This is wonderful.
Even as batshit crazy as California is, and with all the shit that's happening now, you really think it's going to be a long time?
Yes, I do. Yes, because you've reached the tipping point. You didn't bring this up. I wish you would. We have just a few minutes. The Republicans are ballless. There is a super majority.
They have no power.
That's right. They
literally have no power.
There is a super majority of Democrats, and you were going to bring up something about the Republicans and immigration, Clint.
Yeah, so the Republicans introduced a bill purely to do it, basically saying, hey, you know what, we want to pull all state funding from any sanctuary city or county. And it was killed in committee immediately upon arriving.
Because the Democrats could. Because they had a super majority. Because they can ram any fucking thing they want through downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and it is so bad that they don't even need a supermajority anymore. It used to be they needed a supermajority to pass a budget. Now they just need a simple majority.
Now they just have to sneeze.
And what that means is the Democrats will be passing budgets in California for eternity.
That's the goal. To keep things the way they are in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Which is why I say it's going to be a while. Well,
but eventually the people are going to get pissed off, and they might not be able to turn the legislature, but they can turn the governor. Look, it was just one governor ago that we had a Republican.
Yep.
Yeah, he was no Republican.
Yeah, but
he was fiscally. He was.
In California, he was a hard righty.
Fiscally,
when
he
got his propositions shot down in November of that year, he turned. He absolutely turned.
But even then, still for California's, he did
not approve driver's licenses for immigrants for the illegals, and he was conservative fiscally.
Conservative fiscally.
So is Jerry Brown.
At the end of November this year in California, we're going to be paying 12 cents more a gallon per tax and 117% increase in vehicle registration.
Didn't we pass a proposition not too long ago that said any new tax had to be voted on by the people?
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. It's not really a tax as much as it's like an extension. Hey, folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show for the 19th of April, 2017. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We will be back next week at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, right here on shrmedia.com. Make sure you tune in first thing tomorrow morning, starting with our friends over at the Exceptional Conservative Network right here. I believe it's 6 a.m. on Pacific time. I always get it messed up.
Ish.
On the SHR Media Network, followed right through and ending tomorrow evening with the Bloviating Zeppelin. Who do you got tomorrow night?
I have the official attorney of the Berserk Bobcat Saloon, Mamba, White, one each.
I will absolutely look forward to the old White Mamba. That doesn't sound right at all. We'll see you next week, folks.
Late night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Dude.
Radio.
Dude.
Radio.
The best late night conservative talk show in America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.